everyone. In this interview, we're walking a question and perspective. And the question is, I quote, "I have many thoughts. They are very messy and evil. How do I, or what should I do to stop them?" Unquote. Now, let's look at the first point with regarding having many thoughts. Understand that we have been existing in our conscious mind preoccupation with in and as thoughts for our entire lives. But what had not been seen, realized, or understood, or ever really understood, is where the conscious mind thoughts, in fact, really come from. And that is from within our subconscious mind and unconscious mind. So our thoughts that we experience in our conscious mind are little pieces or fragments, essentially, of personality systems and physical, behavioral living patterns and habits that in moments get activated as we are, for example, visually within all our physical senses participating in our physical world and reality. So what our entire mind consciousness system had done is integrate itself into the human physical body to such an extent that instead of us really physically living and experiencing really only the physical human body in this physical existence, from the perspective that we are not in any way consciously aware of the processes that are really in fact manifesting within our human physical bodies. We are in no way in fact aware of the presence, the substance, the expression of, for example, the concrete, the grass, the trees, the air, the clouds. I mean, whatever is in our physical environment, we see, but we're not in fact equally and one aware of. And this is because of the mind consciousness system manifested within our physical bodies, in which we are existing in our physical bodies and this physical existence, but we're not in fact living in it. Where we are existing and living in is our minds, and we are in every single moment preoccupied within our conscious mind thoughts all of the time. I mean, there's moments, very rare, that we might become aware of our breath, or when we're quiet within ourselves. But I mean, even those rare moments, we're not even realizing that we're quiet with ourselves, or that we're really here breathing with our physical bodies, because what has taken authority over us has been the mind, and especially conscious mind thoughts. Now, in terms of the conscious mind thoughts as fragments and pieces of our subconscious and unconscious minds, that we very rarely, or I mean in most of humanity, are in no way aware of what really goes on in the subconscious and unconscious, because all of our awareness is only within all these pieces and fragments of our subconscious and unconscious mind within our conscious mind. And I mean, that's why, for example, in your conscious mind, it would seem like your thoughts are messy. It's like they jump time frames, or they jump contexts, and then you think about this and then that, and then you go here and then you go there, and then this thought comes up from when you were a child, and you can't remember that you even forgot about that experience or that memory. And then your internal conversations or your back chat starts coming up, and then you start talking to yourself. And I mean, it's if you become aware, really aware of your conscious mind, meaning where you start realizing the extent to which we really in fact think, it would seem like your conscious mind looks like this massive domain, meaning that it seems like you're never going to find your way through it. And within the mind consciousness system so integrated into the human physical body, understand where you are actually, in fact, initially participating in terms of within reality, is from your physical human body mind consciousness system connection, meaning that it is from your unconscious mind that your mind will activate your subconscious mind personalities, and from your subconscious mind personalities will activate your conscious mind thoughts. So let's say, for example, you're walking down the street, and as you are visually participating in reality, understand, you're not visually really in fact seeing physical reality. What you are seeing, you will see through the eyes of the mind, where you have definitions, knowledge and information, experiences, reactions, memories of what it is that you are physically, visually seeing. And so from your visual input as well as your physical sensory input, in terms of, let's say, for example, you experience a brush of wind, or you hear leaves crackling on the ground, or you hear cars. I mean, whatever your physical senses are integrating is in some way interconnected within your unconscious and subconscious mind, which will bring up in your conscious mind various memories, thoughts, thinking patterns, fantasies, conversations. I mean, that's why your mind so quickly and so with such speed jumps here and there, and then it goes back in time, forward in time, then it goes parallel, reverse, thinking about this person, that person. I mean, it's insane how busy our conscious minds can be and become within us if we accept and allow it. So that is simply the context in terms of why and how it is that your conscious mind will seem so messy and busy. It's simply because as you are physically participating, your unconscious mind is integrating and picking up all of these visual information, this physical information, and connecting it to memories, experiences, people, interactions, reactions within yourself from your past throughout your life. Now, I mean, each human being cannot even recall the detail of from when you were born into this world, every single minute reaction that you had to physical reality from when you were a child. And I mean, all of that information from when you were a child is stored in your unconscious mind. That's why now, for example, when you were a child, you would hear a dog bark, and you in no way could comprehend that sound, but your parents or your mother, for example, suddenly reacted in fear, and you can visually, physically see that fear on or in your mother's eyes as the dog was barking. You're imprinting then that moment of your mother's fear and the dog barking as sound within your unconscious. Now you grow up and suddenly you have this massive fear towards certain types of dogs, but it's just an automatic fear, not in any way remembering that where that fear in fact really physically imprinted into you as a child. So you'll walk through your life and you'll hear, for example, a dog barking, and imprint with that imprinted manifestation of your mother's eyes in fear, and you will automatically react in fear. But then as you react in fear, your mind starts activating the unconscious and subconscious of all your memories in relation to fear that you have ever experienced within your life. And if all of that starts activating your unconscious and subconscious, man, your mind can take you into all sorts of directions and visual playouts and fears and anxieties. An entire storm can essentially come up. And with regards to thoughts being evil, understand that this has got a lot to do with in terms of how one had programmed one's entire mind consciousness systems throughout one's life, for example, in relation to the word evil, in relation to the existence of evil, in relation to what self had defined or experienced as evil throughout one's life. And I mean, we've always throughout our lives had evil thoughts. I mean, there is not a human being that has not had an evil thought within their lifetime. This is because of and due to the very nature of the mind consciousness system in terms of protecting and defending its survival and existence through survival of the fittest, competition. And in competition, you always have to make sure that you're superior, you're the winner, you make it before the rest. And within that competition, the survival of the fittest, the protection and defense of my domain and my existence as energy, as the mind. I mean, one's mind will do whatever it takes to survive, and in this will construct the most evilest thoughts in our minds to try and diminish or break down or blame or justify or excuse, you know, one's relationship to other human beings, to make them less than self, so that self is more superior within oneself, and then create the illusion of self being more than or better than or superior than. That's simply just one context of evil. And then, of course, in terms of the evil thoughts in relation to self, that self is evil, bad, or sinful. I mean, if we ever look at the extent of evil and how it has been defined within this existence, it's quite fascinating, because evil had more become within the context of religion or societal rules, norms, values, regulations, when we do not in fact even see, realize, and understand the evil that we are doing unto our own physical bodies in our relationship to our mind. The evil that we are doing unto this entire physical existence within our acceptance and allowance of the world system of money, in the countless amounts of suffering and pain and abuse and misuse of lives, animals, and nature, earth. Yet the evil that is promoted in this world, in terms of especially religions and moralities, is simply thus a preoccupation for human beings to not realize that we, within our very application of our responsibility toward ourselves and existence as a whole, is in fact the very evil that is accepting and allowing this world to continue to exist as is. So, to assist and support oneself within the conscious mind. Now, because the conscious mind, as I've explained, is simply fragments or pieces of your subconscious and unconscious mind that is activated within your physical participation within reality. I mean, trying to find a solution only with these random thoughts that are coming up in your conscious mind is not going to assist and support oneself to get into the real core source or origin of the thoughts. And I mean, one can stop participation in the conscious mind thoughts, try and forgive them, ignore them, become angry at them, judge them, blame them, take them personally. Whatever relationship you form toward your conscious mind thoughts, nothing is going to work, because they will just simply come up over and over and over and over again, because you're not seeing, realizing, understanding that they're coming from your subconscious and your unconscious mind. So in how to assist and support yourself with your conscious mind thoughts, what you can do in terms of as you're participating in reality is to not participate in them, meaning not give them energy, which means that, let's say, for example, you give your conscious mind thoughts attention. That attention is giving them energy, because you, as the being in the mind and the physical, is pulling your physical mind energy into giving those thoughts attention as energy, and then you give the thoughts power, instead of breathing here with your physical human body. So assist and support yourself to practice that process, where instead of giving the mind power, the conscious mind, the thoughts energy to continue moving in your conscious mind, and as they continue moving and you give your conscious mind energy, it's again giving your subconscious mind energy and your unconscious mind energy, and then you're just essentially keeping the whole mind fed, the more you continue participating in your conscious mind thoughts. So stop that participation through practicing moving your attention to breathing. So the moment you find that you are participating in your conscious mind thoughts, like they're running, they're messy, they're all over the place, take a breath, a very deep breath in, out, and then simply breathe. Just focus on your breathing and keep yourself physically, practically busy, meaning you can assist and support yourself with writing, with self-forgiveness, with whatever practical, physical responsibilities or tasks that you have during your day. What you want to discipline yourself with is become more physically practical in your responsibilities, because physical participation will assist and support you within that process of stopping participation in the conscious mind thoughts, so that you can actually start moving here in equality and oneness with your physical body and become more aware of what's going on in your subconscious and unconscious mind. Because as long as you're stuck in your conscious mind, you won't be able to see your subconscious and unconscious. So the more you move from your conscious mind preoccupation into your physical body equality and oneness, you'll more and more move through the layers of the mind into being able to see the subconscious and unconscious more clearly, to be able to, within writing and self-forgiveness, assist and support self to write out all of these thoughts and internal conversations and reactions that emerge and manifest and come up within self when one is physically interacting within one's physical existence. I mean, the essential process is to get to the point where one is here really, in fact, breathing, where you physically are aware of the very presence, beings, manifestations, and expressions of your physical body, where when you see another human being or meet another human being, you really see the entirety of who they are, and not just interact with beings in this physical existence based on reactions, based on memories within your own mind that really just come up for you to participate in your conscious mind. Give it attention, so that the more you give your conscious mind attention as energy, the more the energy is transferred to the subconscious and the unconscious, and all you are within that one act of attention is a power charge, a fuel for your mind. I mean, that is essentially all that a human being has become. So the only thing that you're really doing in your life, in terms of who you are, is giving attention as energy to your conscious mind thoughts. I mean, your mind consciousness system does the rest for you. Your thoughts come up automatically. Your internal conversations come up automatically. Your reactions, your physical behavior, everything is happening automatically. All you, the being, is doing is just giving conscious mind attention. So within stopping that point of giving the mind power, the more you participate in your conscious mind and move yourself, take your power back to you, to the physical, your directive principle as breath. The more you start focusing and practicing on your breathing, the more you will come out of just that conscious mind preoccupation awareness, and the more you will see of the mind that you require really, in fact, working through and working with to take responsibility for. Because remember, as we've explained within process, the entire mind consciousness system exists as parts and pieces of ourselves that we've separated ourselves from. It's kind of like we've ripped parts of ourselves out of ourselves and created it into a system and said, okay, system, that's my part, you do that way. There's another part of me, you sort that out. You take control of this and that. And so we've literally given our power ourselves away to system, to a mind that is busy existing and functioning for us. So we need to get to a point where we can start living ourselves, for ourselves in our physical bodies. And that process starts with assisting and supporting self, to not give the mind attention as power in the conscious mind. Move your awareness to breath, the physical body, so that in that process you can see more of the mind, more of how you've separated yourself from, And within that, walk your process of writing, self-forgiveness, and self-corrective application, so you can stop the separation of yourself into systems and transform that separation of systems into living words of and as equality and oneness here. So that you can really, in fact, live in the physical and not have a mind exist for you automatically. I mean, you know how messy it is within you, even just within the conscious mind. So, I mean, to stop that messiness, to stop what is automatically coming up within you, and to find out where everything is really, in fact, coming from, why is it existing within you, is to take that first step of getting into physical breath, and then start your process of writing, self-forgiveness, self-corrective application. Within your structured writing and self-forgiveness processes, you'll be able to find and walk the timelines into your past to see how and why it is that you created how you are experiencing yourself in and as your own mind. Alright, so this is just a interview in terms of giving perspective in relation to the messiness of the conscious mind and why it's so messy, and how to assist and support oneself with it. To simply not participate, apply breathing, and within that process to do your writing and your self-forgiveness. Within taking, for example, people in your world or past experiences or events in your life that really made an impact or an influence on yourself, on your life, on who you are. You write it out for yourself first, so that you can get the context, the detail of who you were in relation to that point or that person, and then accordingly write your self-forgiveness in terms of seeing how and why it is that you had reacted in the way you did. Why did you experience yourself the way you did? Why did you victimize yourself? Why did you compromise yourself? Why did you abuse yourself? I mean, everything that came up in your mind toward that person or that situation, that is the process that you have to walk your self-forgiveness with. Because in the walking of self-forgiveness, you are taking the responsibility of making the statement of, essentially within self-forgiveness, saying, I realized that in this point of me as the mind, I had separated myself, that I had given a part of myself away and manifested it into a system that has existed for me. I now realize the consequences of doing this, and now I bring and take that part of me that's become a system and bringing it back to myself through taking responsibility for it as me. And in that responsibility, you just write your self-forgiveness. And within that, you'll see in your writing of self-forgiveness how the points will just open up as you're walking in that equality and oneness as responsibility with your mind consciousness system. And as you walk it out and see what you have accepted and allowed, you make your commitment statements of how you're going to assist and support yourself to change yourself, and then actually physically, practically live it. Alright, so here's the process in a nutshell. We strongly suggest investing in the interview series, Self-Awareness Steps for the Elite. I mean, in those interviews, we very specifically walk you through the conscious, the subconscious, and unconscious mind, how to do writing, how to apply self-forgiveness, what is self-corrective application. So, I mean, such interviews are a life investment, and will lay out specifically the process that's required to be walked. And within that, the Destiny I process, we strongly recommend to assist and support self in walking the Destiny I process, where one is guided through a process from the conscious to the subconscious into the unconscious mind, where you walk with the body, where you walk through lessons as steps, as processes that take you through your entire mind consciousness system. I mean, if one really do not have any money available within one's self-honesty, within oneself and one's life, there is a process of blogging for sponsorship available where one can blog for sponsorship, and within the commitment of us blogging, one can accordingly be provided with sponsorship for the course, which, I mean, if one is obviously really committed to oneself and one's process, the doors, the opportunities are here and are available. Self just need only open them. Thank you very much.